Okay, I will take you now for some minutes to the Amazon rainforest. The Amazon is a huge biome that stores millions of tons of carbon. It's also home to thousands of different species of plants and animals, and it's also home to more than 20 million of indigenous and rural communities. These forests provide us of non-timber forest products, which are all the materials other than timber extracted that for human use. This can be, for example, food, medicine, fibers that can be directly consumed by people or also sold in the market to generate an economic income. These products can also be essential elements for the socio-ecological systems in the Amazon. Like, for example, in Pando, in our study area, people depend economically mainly on the commercialization of this product. But lately, due to the different impacts that climate change had in its production, the system has been in risk. Therefore, it would be necessary to explore the potential of other different products to have a more diversified economy. Palm fruits have a potential for this, as they are highly consumed in the Amazon, they are very nutritious, and also have an economic potential in the region. The research questions of my study were to analyze, according to analytical framework, the conditions that promote or hinder a sustainable commercialization of the fruits, which are the community characteristics that influence this activity, and which is the potential for commercialization of 4 palm fruits: acai, majo, motaku, and palma real. The analytical framework was composed by 4 different criteria: the ecological, socioeconomic, market and value chain, policies, and institutional support. Each of them contained different indicators that were chosen according to their importance in the bibliography and in the context of the region. For the data collection, I did key informant interviews to different stakeholders working with these palm fruits. Also, interviews to community members were done in 2 communities, one inside a protected area and one outside a protected area. And this was complemented with a literature review. For the data analysis, I used a multiple criteria decision-making tool, specifically the SMART analysis. In this methodology, each palm fruit was rated in a scale from 1 to 3 according to each indicator. And at the end, the final rating value demonstrated the potential of each palm fruit. According to the key informants data analysis, the palm fruit with the highest potential was acai. And when looking at the results from the 2 communities, we can see that the community Villa Florida, which was inside the protected area, had a higher potential for all the palms compared to the results from the other community. According to the ecological results, the extraction rates were very low, which means that this activity is far from an overexploitation, and also the harvesting methods used were sustainable. The main method was to climb the palms and collect the fruits without generating any damage to the individuals. According to the socioeconomic results, two fruits, acai and majo, generated high income per day in the community inside the reserve. But this activity was not constant, and it depended mainly on the processing capacities of processing plants and also on the seasonality of the fruits. The fruit acai was the only one with a high and increasing local and international demand. It was also the only one with an identified value chain and also infrastructure for processing. But the processing capacities are still not enough to fulfill all this increase in demand. There are several institutions that promote the sustainable use and commercialization of these fruits. There are also certain policies that are promoting it, but some of them are still seen as barriers, especially for rural producers, and mainly because of all the bureaucracy required for several procedures. Acai, high abundance, demand, and also sustainable practices give it a potential for develop a sustained economy based on its production. Also, the intervention for the several institutions help to educate and promote its consumption in the population, as it is a very high nutritious product. Nevertheless, as this is a very recent activity in the region, there's still space for improvements, like for example, in strengthening the financial capacities of rural people, in generating a more fair value chain, and also increase the processing capacities. The second fruit, majo, shared very similarities with acai related to harvesting and processing, which was very helpful. But the main disadvantage of this product is its high perishability, and because of this, some new technologies will be needed to deal with it. The other fruit, motaku, and also palma real, share many of the hindering conditions, like for example, the lack of knowledge regarding processing and harvesting, but these two fruits are very well known and consumed in other regions of the Amazon, which means that in our study area still the conditions are not there. Palma real might reach this potential faster, as in this region people is very interested in starting working with it, and also the conditions already stated for acai might be also useful for the commercialization of these fruits. As conclusion, the methodology used in this study has several benefits for sustainability analysis, as it can be adapted very easily. It can be a diagnostic tool to find out needs for improvement. Also, it can monitor different changes over time and be useful for decision makers. Also, the multidisciplinarity used in this analysis demonstrates the importance of include all the different factors when analyzing this activity. And even though it can be a big challenge, especially for rural communities, it can give several paths to forest conservation and improvement of people's livelihood. Thank you very much for your attention.